Namaste and welcome to Kidacity. I'm your host Samar Chitta and this is episode 111, Triple One. So today we are welcoming a brand new segment. Any guesses on its name or its topic? Well, I'll reveal it to you. The name is Unscrolled Weekly. A little bit about this segment. So each week I'll take a break from all the chaos around me to explore stories that really got me thinking. From big world events to small ideas that still have a huge impact around me. Whether it's something I read, watched, or just couldn't stop thinking about, I'll be sharing it right here. Every episode, I'll pick one topic that really caught my attention, be it something from the news, science, history, or even everyday life. Then I'll dive into it, do a little bit of my own digging, and then share my own perspective. So, if you like asking questions or learning something new each week, take a minute, unscroll, and let's explore together. Okay, so let's jump into this week's headline. It is that the UAE strikes a deal with OpenAI that premium ChatGPT model is to be made freely available to all citizens. So by the time this episode will be coming out, because I'm traveling, as you can see, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, where you'll be getting a few more interesting episodes from around here. So this is a little bit of an old headline, but still, it's something that really, really interests me, and that's something that's still extremely relevant right now. So, like I was saying, the UAE strikes a deal with OpenAI that the premium ChatGPT model is to be made freely available to all of its citizens. So, in fact, you did hear that right. All 11.3 million people of the United Arab Emirates, a country in the Middle East with huge cities like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, that you must have heard of, has just made a deal with OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, a staple in everybody's devices today. So, what's the agreement? Every single resident will get access to the premium version of ChatGPT. That too, for free. So, if you're like me, when you just first heard this news, your instant reaction must have been, what? So that's why today's episode is called AI for Everyone, the UAE's bold move and what it could mean for the rest of us. Let's start with what the big deal even is. Most of us use our devices every day. Phones, laptops, tablets, maybe even smart TVs. So you've probably used or at least heard about ChatGPT. But for those of you who don't know, that it's a super smart chatbot that can help you with things like writing essays, answering science questions, solving math problems, and everything and anything in between. But until now, the best version of ChatGPT, the one that's faster, more accurate, and honestly, in my opinion, just way cooler, was only available to people who paid for the monthly ChatGPT Plus subscription. So what the UAE did was just shocking. They just said, let's make this powerful AI tool free for everyone who lives here, all 11.3 million people. So now you must be thinking, why would the UAE just want to even invest in something like this? Well, the country has been trying for a while to become a leader in technology and innovation. In fact, they've already built futuristic cities, robot police dogs, and they even sent a mission to Mars. So now they're looking at AI as the next big thing. By giving their entire population access to powerful tools like ChatGPT, they're hoping to create a super skilled population. This population can think faster, solve problems better, and build new businesses, new apps, and even new technologies that could revolutionize thinking. Now that the UAE is actually executing such a huge global change, what if it were to take place everywhere? And what would even change? There would obviously be a lot of positives, and with that, there would be a lot of negatives. So let's look on the bright side and start with the positives first. Students like me, and maybe even you, can use ChatGPT to understand tough topics, practice languages, or even get help with homework instantly. Inventors could also use AI to test ideas, build apps, and create new technologies. But also, by making AI free for everyone, it's not just a small group that benefits. In fact, everyone gets to experiment with new ideas and they use this new technology in multiple different ways. But obviously, there are negatives. The population might become over dependent. What happens if students start using AI for everything and we're still learning to think on our own? In fact, this is one of the main problems that is still happening to this day and right now. People aren't thinking for themselves and are just using ChatGPT for every single decision. Lots of people are also slowly becoming concerned of their own privacy. AI collects data to optimize your answers. But will everyone's questions and information be tracked? And who controls all of this? And where does this data even go? These are a few of the main concerns that people have with using technologies like this. Some adults also worry that if AI does all the work, humans might lose their jobs, especially in areas like writing, coding, or design. But here's where things get really interesting for us here in India. Could a country like India do the same thing? Well, most countries like India, which are developing nations, have a huge youth population. In fact, 29% of Indian population are all youths. Additionally, India has a huge growing tech industry with many international companies like Microsoft and Nvidia putting up offices all across the country. Schools are also experimenting with smart classrooms, online learning, so yes, even AI. So, if the Indian government or even a group of companies in India were to team up with companies like OpenAI, imagine the possibilities. Students in remote villages could learn from the same resources as students in big cities. In fact, students in India could be using the same resources as students in Phoenix. Language barriers could also almost entirely go away, and learning as a whole thing can get a huge upgrade. But it would also bring the same risks that we talked about: screen overuse, fairness, and job changes. So, will India be next? Who knows? Maybe. That's a question for the future, and maybe a question for another episode. So, after taking a look at all the facts that we've seen so far, here is my opinion. AI tools like ChatGPT are extremely powerful. They can help students, help teachers, help artists, scientists, and even kids like you and me to learn faster and to think bigger. But like any tool, it depends on how we use it and what we use it for. If used well, it could become one of the greatest helpers in human history. But if we over rely on it too much and we don't ask the right questions, it could change the world in ways that we're not ready for. So, as the future grows closer and more unpredictable, let's ask smart questions. And let's not forget the most powerful tool of all, our own minds. That's it for this episode of Unscrolled Weekly. Next week, I will be back for a brand new episode with another topic that really got me thinking. So, don't forget to unscroll a bit in your own life this week. Until next week, goodbye and Jai Hind from Kidacity.